I wouldn't bother finishing a book just for the sake of finishing it. This one though, it flowed nicely. It's a heavy, thick book, but a friend was actually surprised that I finished it quite fast. But then I realized that's because, technically it's written quite well. The world is epic. The world is epic. The world that he paints for you, it's big, it's epic. The characters that he paints for you, it's big, it's epic. But the story is not. Hi everyone, this is Paul Loves to Read, and as you know, in this channel, it's all about spreading the love and joy for literature, and we hope that our little channel helps you find the right book for you. So for today, I'm going to share with you this big book, this heavy, big, epic book. It's called Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Anthony Doerr. And it was published in 2021, September. It's a thick book, guys, heavy. What made me pick this book? I've been seeing it a lot in the bookstore. I read the synopsis at the back. It's very compelling. So it's about a different characters, different timeline. It has this epic feel to it, and there's some sort of a quest and some sort of a book that involves and ties everyone together. So myself, being a sucker for books, a book lover myself, any story, any book, any novel that talks about books kind of makes me curious because it's so hard to pull off. And maybe that's because for book lovers, it's a topic that's very close to your heart. Therefore, your standards tend to be really, really higher. But yeah, so that's why I got curious with this one. Just I want to find out what is it all about. And I don't know if you could see or if you noticed it, but the book cover of Cuckoo Land, this big blue thing in the middle, that's the book. That's actually a book. How is the book? Okay. There are bright moments in the book. So just to give you a sense of what this epicness is all about, I think it has about 4 timelines, and then you will follow 4 timelines following about 5 to 7 protagonists. And the way that the story is told is that each chapter is essentially a story of each protagonist, jumping from one timeline to the other. So one protagonist, one character would be in one timeline, and the other character would be in the other timeline, and then the other character will be in the other timeline, and then all of them will somehow, their stories will somehow meet somewhere in the middle and towards the end. So that's what makes it quote-unquote epic, okay? Because it's a huge, just telling it as it is, it feels like a huge story, but it's such a huge undertaking to be writing about 4 timelines, about 7 protagonists, tied by a single supposedly ancient literature that would somehow link them all together. How is it not confusing? That's a good question, kasi it wasn't confusing. And that's, I believe that's credit to the author. He wrote it in such a way that it's understandable even amidst all the jumping back and forth, right? And technically, it's written well such that the words flow, the events flow nicely, it links nicely. You as the reader, get to understand where you are in the story, and you are given enough information to link pieces together so that in the next chapter, you wouldn't be so lost. So that's technically, okay? Technically, it's brilliantly written. It's long. The book is so long. There's so many words. And this author naman kasi, si Anthony Doerr, he is a very atmospheric type of author. He describes everything into every single detail. And he really paints that vivid picture for you down to the last detail, when I feel like sometimes it's unnecessary. So there's that, I feel like you're so invested with the world that you forget to tell the story. I have read his previous one, All the Light We Cannot See, which was a Pulitzer Prize win. Anthony Doerr has this tendency to, when you get into the middle of his story, there's a dip. There's this section wherein it feels a little dragging almost. But then when you get past it, mabilis lang naman. It's like a minute part, but it's there, and it has it here as well. I felt that here, somewhere in the middle. I'm like, where are we going with this? But then he picks it up. Okay, he picks it up. I feel like the story itself could be more. Yeah, I think the story itself could be more. Um, Granted that it spans different timelines, and if I'm not mistaken, the oldest timeline is around 1400s pa ata, parang ganon, and well into the future. So meron pa siyang future timeline, and all of them are tied together by this book. So you would expect a grander event. You would expect a grander ending to all of it. The epicness, the feeling of epicness comes from the idea that one piece of item, in the book, that a piece of item is linked to eons in the past. The provenance of a thing, that's what makes it epic, di ba? If I can make it more relatable, for example, family heirlooms, right? The simple ring band that you wear, that was given to you by your mom, that was given to her by her mom, that was recovered from World War II, that was coming from ganyan. Suddenly, di ba? Suddenly that item, the provenance of the thing, adds weight to the thing, right? So that's what the story is trying to achieve. In a way, it achieved it, but not so much. Parang it could have been more. The world is epic. The world is epic. The world that he paints for you, it's big, it's epic. The characters that he paints for you, it's big, it's epic. But the story is not that epic. The story is not yet there. So yeah. But I still finished it. Yeah. So that's still something. Because you know me. I mean, if you know me, I wouldn't bother finishing a book just for the sake of finishing it. This one, though, it flowed nicely. It's a heavy, thick book, but a friend was actually surprised that I finished it quite fast. But then I realized that's because, technically it's written quite well. If you liked his previous work, I feel like you could appreciate this too. If you're into fantasy/sci-fi story, maybe you'll like this. Yeah, but as far as recommendations would go, maybe not in your next to be read list. Maybe, somewhere in the future, if you want to give it a try, baka may sample. Try the sample first. Try the sample ebook first, because it's quite a commitment. So I just still wanted to share it because it's such a bestseller. So there you go. Thank you.